you've been applying for tons of design jobs, but you're having troubles getting even a first interview with a hiring manager, and now you may be wondering what you're doing wrong. As someone who has reviewed tons of case studies in the past years, I've noticed a lack of originality and personality, which makes them all similar to one another as if they were designed by the same person. So in this video, I want to help you create better case studies for your portfolio to increase the chances of being successful during your interviews. To do that, let's discuss what a case study is and what it's not. In short, a case study is the story of a design project that you have worked on. It tells the story of how you identified a problem, researched user needs, developed design solutions, and arrived to a final solution that met both business and user needs. Case studies are often used to showcase a designer's skills and experience, and may be included in a portfolio or used as part of a job application. In a UX case study, you might also include information about the design problem, research methods, design solutions, and usability testing results, or any other forms of evaluations. You will need to also include user flows, sketches, wireframes, prototypes, and any design materials to help you illustrate your design process. Now let's talk about what a case study is not. First, a UX case study is not a marketing document, so it should not contain marketing languages or promotional content. While a UX case study may describe the features of a product or service, the focus should be on the user experience, not the product or feature itself. And while business goals may be relevant to a UX case study, the primary focus should be on the user experience, not the overall business strategy, which is done separately as part of a team effort. Now that we have a clear understanding of what a case study is and what it's not, let's discuss how to spruce it up with creativity and innovation. One key factor that is making your case studies a bit boring, and I've seen it quite a bit between UX bootcamp students, is replicating the same case study over and over again, which usually follows a very standardized UX process. And this can happen for many reasons, like bootcamps using the same hypothetical UX problems for all their students instead of asking companies to provide their students with real-life projects. So if you feel like all your case studies are starting to blend together into one, it can be really helpful to seek out for guidance from a mentor or a more senior designer to help you brainstorm how to use more unique approaches to create case studies. And this means you may need to get rid of some steps or expand on others depending on the nature of the problem. For example, when improving an existing app, it may not be necessary to create, for example, user personas, while a case study of a full application may not allow for as much in-depth exploration of different options. Ultimately, the most important thing is to approach each case study with the goal of solving a specific problem in mind. Which brings us to the next point, which is that you are starting from the solution instead of the problem. And this is particularly common among junior or bootcamp graduates who may not have real-life problems to draw from, and instead create a problem based on their desired income, which is usually a new digital product with a sleek UI or a Spotify redesign. Let me tell you, this is absolutely not what happens in real life, and again, recruiters don't want to see projects that are too far from reality. So if you don't want to fall into the same trap, it's important to focus on the problem you're trying to solve and how you plan to address it. If you're working on an hypothetical project, consider seeking feedback from a mentor or a friend to kind of unlock your solution and guide you through your process. And if you want to brainstorm problems to solve, consider real-life issues you've encountered while using a digital product. You can also use tools to generate ideas, though be mindful about which tools you choose, as not all of them may be effective. Here's an example of a problem statement in UX design. Users have difficulty navigating the website to find information about the company's products and services. This problem statement identifies a specific issue that users are experiencing and provides a clear focus for the UX design process. From this problem statement, you could then create wireframes, prototypes, and design solutions to help users find the information they need on the website. You can also collaborate with other designers on a case study, which is something nobody really does because we think it will look like we haven't done the work. But actually, I think it is really powerful because it shows you have developed collaboration skills and the ability to give and receive feedback. Next time you create a case study, think about a real-life problem you've come across or use a tool to help you brainstorm problems. So now you have a wonderful story to tell, but let's not forget about the metrics. Ultimately, the person you're reviewing your portfolio will want to invest in you because we are getting something in return. So how do you explain and communicate what that value is? The most effective way to do it is by adding in some key metrics that can help understand how well a solution is meeting the needs of its users. There are many different metrics that UX designers can track depending on the goals of their design projects. Some examples of UX metrics might include user adoption. This metric measures the number of users who are actively using a product. User satisfaction. This can be measured through surveys or other research methods to understand how well a product meets the needs and expectations of its users. Retention rate. This metric measures the percentage of users who continue to use a product over time. But these are just a few examples of the many different metrics that you may want to track to understand how effective your designs are. Many case studies end up with a beautiful Figma prototype that, of course, demonstrates you have great UI skills, but how do you demonstrate that your solution was successful? If you're working on a real-life project, you can quote key metrics that you contribute, but if you have to work on an hypothetical project or idea, you can quote metrics and explain how you would measure them if you were working with a product manager, for example. When it comes to presenting your case studies to a potential employer or client, it's really important to kind of choose a format that is effective and engaging. So you may be wondering which one is best. Now, I have nothing against a static web page on a portfolio website, but I personally prefer the slide formats for my job interviews because they are more organized and easier to follow than a traditional web page, and they can also be more visually appealing and interactive as well. My favorite tool for creating case study slides is actually Figma, which allows me to keep my entire project in one file. Other options like Google Slides and Keynotes may also work well depending on your needs and preferences. I would really love to hear from you what tools you're using and whether you like it or you want to try a new one. If you manage to avoid the first 4 problems with creating boring case studies but still don't get the results you want during your interviews, it may be worth considering how you present your work. And actually, when mentoring, I always ask my students to practice their case study presentation with me as if I was the recruiter. The more you practice, the more confident you get. We all know that, but it's easier said than done. That's why I recommend you get a mentor while you build up their confident muscles. They will be able to tell you when you are over-explaining things or skipping important steps and show you the best practices as well. For example, you should use a clear and concise language and refrain from using jargon or technical terms that your audience may not be familiar with. Also, be prepared to answer any questions that may arise during the presentation and consider asking for feedback. if you don't receive many questions as well. With practice and preparation, you can deliver a really effective and engaging presentation. Feel free to share your experience with creating and presenting case studies, or let me know if you want me to expand on a specific area, and I'll make sure to answer all your questions. I leave a few follow-up videos on screen so that you can continue to learn about product design, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao!